Hi there, I am Lori with Co-Creating Impact and itstimesunshine.com. We're here with our good friend Sean. How are you doing today? He's here to tell us his story.
I'm good, Lori. How are you? Thank you for having me on the show. I definitely appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to talking with you.
Yes. So we met on Clubhouse and we've been in a few rooms
Clubhouse.
together. And I love it because it's so educational. Everybody brings value and everybody gives value. And I absolutely love it. So I heard your story there and it was just so amazing to me. So tell us a little bit about your story. We've got 15 minutes. Go.
Whoa, that's a lot to crunch in a short amount of time.
Right?
But I'll stick to the main points. I grew up in an abusive household. I turned into a angry child because of it, and that just carried on throughout my life. I got involved in methamphetamine when I was 15, and carried on a 18-year relationship with that substance off and on for 18 years. And then it was also involved with juvenile halls, boys ranch, 16 months in a group home when I was 16 to 18. Had some successful periods in my life, but it always went back to that substance, and I always found my way back to it. So ended up going to prison for 3 years, got out in 2006. There's a lot in there, and if you want to know more about that, I would suggest listening to my show, because that's where you'll find most of that information. But in 2006, I got out, and then I wasn't done. I still had more to put on my resume, did 2 violations. And in 2010, I decided to turn it all around. But I ended up in a 7-year opiate addiction to pills, to painkillers. But I was able to function doing that, right?
Wow.
Versus meth, where, no matter how many different times I tried or different ways I tried to, live my life while using that substance, it always ended in poorly for me, or badly. I started from 0 3 times. I almost died 5 times through overdoses, vehicular things, and almost one death when I got raided by the SWAT team. So then there's a whole story within that too, and you have to just check out my stuff to find it. But through all of that, my behavior was learned, over a long period of time. And what I didn't realize is that a lot of the things that I was doing, including being an abusive person, because all of the 5 relationships that I'd been in up to maybe 3 years ago, I was an abusive person. And when I say abusive person, I wasn't physically, but I was a bully. So, I mean, if you count like shoving my significant other or throwing them around on the bed, but not producing any kind of injuries that would land me in jail. So, and that was very intentional, and that was premeditated. And so, I would do all of that kind of stuff, along with being verbally abusive, mentally abusive, and emotionally abusive. And those are all horrible things to be. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm an amazing guy and, hey, look at me. It was very shameful. And most of the time people don't talk about these things. And that's why I felt like I needed to come out and say it and speak about it, because the things that I talk about usually never get disclosed beyond the walls of a counselor's office. Right.
True.
And so, I need to be that example, because of the platform that I have, to other men out there, that this is not the way to be. There is a way through it. There is a way that you can get beyond it. And I want to be that example for you and that mentor for you if you need it.
Yeah, men and women. There are women that are abusive also. We want to make sure that it's understood that, but since you are a man, you probably mostly want to speak on men's issues, right?
Yeah, I actually partnered up with a woman. Her name is Aurora, and she is a part of the Borealis experience. And was an abusive woman herself too. And so we both partnered up and have a podcast that we do, or episodes that we do, speaking at it from the perspective of a man and a woman in that same position.
Oh, that's fantastic. Way to go. Really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so we have 2 episodes out so far, and we're going to continue to do it. And they were It's just, you have to put that kind of stuff out there, especially in this day and age where, people are with the lockdowns and all these other things where now we're stuck together in some instances, in toxic relationships and, toxicity and all of that stuff that goes along with it, and abuse and all of those things are on the rise right now.
And you're very brave for coming out and talking about it and being able to not only talk about it, but work through it yourself and be able to talk openly. And not a lot of people can do that. So I really appreciate you for doing that.
And you want to know what I found is that the more, and this is all through the podcast, and mind you, I didn't start the journey of podcasting with this intended, right? This was a byproduct of what I was working through the podcast, because I would talk to people about their bottoms, their life struggles, and how they got through it because of my own. And I wanted to hear other stories from people and how I can relate to them. And through that, I started noticing that I was healing through speaking my own truth and my own story. And slowly but surely, I started bringing out other things because I was talking to women that were in abusive relationships. And I felt like I had to come out and talk about that and sort of in relating to them. Hey, I feel you and I can see it from your perspective because I once was that guy you're talking about.
And how did that make you feel when you were talking to the women who had been abused by men? How did that make you feel like a part of you were helping them heal too?
I do believe that was starting to take place. I mean, there would be times when I would be sitting with my significant other and we'd be watching a movie with an abusive person in the movie. And I'm sitting there looking at her going, I wonder if she's thinking this is my story, and like feeling shame around that. And like, not really knowing how to stop it because, honestly, a lot of the behaviors that we have, those are developed over a long period of time. And, sometimes they were maybe used to survive in certain situations, especially for me as being involved in the drug trade and being a drug dealer and being involved in all of that kind of stuff. I mean, it sort of just went hand in hand. And then going to prison didn't help a whole lot either because all those behaviors you need to survive while you're in prison. And so there was never any like work on that kind of behavior, and they just turn into like your fabric, right? Your subconscious things that you do as an auto response to stuff. And for me, it was like when somebody yells at me, I get violent because of what I dealt with when I was growing up. Some people shut down when they get yelled at or that they shut down and don't respond. For me, it was completely different. I would get violent. And so I had to kind of figure that out for myself and like, how do I continue that? And it wasn't until I had my daughter, my second daughter, who, when I was doing these things in front of her, that I realized that there's one instance when, I was in a rage and she was behind me and I looked back and she was gone. And I'm like, oh my God, where'd she go? And so it stopped me in the middle of my rage and I ran, looking for her frantically, like, where did you go? What, and she was in the furthest part of the house hiding and like hiding and crying. And I, what immediately came to my mind was, I wonder if this was me when my parents were doing this.
And you're ready to stop that generational.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, just being aware that self-awareness is like, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, and so that was the first inkling. And then we did it one more time and she was 2 years old and me and her mom were already split up at the time. And we decided to take her to see Santa together, to sort of have some sort of normalcy. Not that we're going to get back together, but, so she sees that. I don't know, man. I don't know how to explain it. It's just
all good. Yeah.
That's just what we wanted to do. Right. And so anyways,
it's hard because we want that normalcy for our babies. We don't want them to go through what we went through. And the difficult part is that we see it happening right before our eyes and we can't understand. We can't put our words to it. Like, why is this still happening? Why am I doing this? How
Mm-hmm,
can
mm-hmm.
I fix it? And were you able to go through therapy to help with your behaviors and anger and things?
No, I did it all on my own. And
Wow.
it was in how it was. And the end of that story was, we were fighting back and forth next to each other in a car. You know, that when you start yelling and yelling and try to yell over each other and no one's listening and no one hears anything, she's in the back seat. She's 2 years old. And all of a sudden I hear, stop. Like, whoa, from a 2-year-old.
Mm,
Right. And
mm.
I'm just like, you know what? This is it. We gotta stop this. And so from that point on, I really started working on it and working on myself. And then I started having people on the show, that from life coaches to people that help with self-sabotage and all of those things that I would suffer with. I leveraged the podcast to get them onto the show to be able to help me work through some of these things. And then and then the audience was sort of like following me through me figuring me out and changing in the process. And then what I realized is, the more I started talking about my abusive behavior and how I was and the things that I was doing, all of that shame and that pain and everything that I was hiding from, I was taking the power away from it
Mm.
that it had over me by speaking through it. And then it just slowly but surely over time, it became less and less and less. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm perfect and that it doesn't happen, that I don't blow up sometimes, but it's less. You know, it's so much less than it used to be. And the
Well,
more
because
that,
you're aware.
yeah.
You become aware, and you realize now that you're sober. And
Mhm.
how long has it been since you've used?
Meth was probably since 2010. I did have a surgery and I used, and they gave me some Percocets for the pain, and I did take those, but I had a plan in place where I had my girlfriend hold on to them. And so I didn't abuse them. And as I needed them, she would dole them out. And I only asked for like 20. I'm like, just give me 20. They would have given me 100 if I asked for 100, but I'm like, no, just give me 20 because I don't want that many around.
Yeah, and so you became self-aware, and you were able to realize that even though the behavior, we don't want to place blame on the childhood, or say that this behavior is okay because I went through something in my childhood, or because I was on a narcotic or an alcohol or whatever, the behavior still wasn't acceptable. But now you're in the midst of recovering and helping others, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where we become. We go from victims to survivors to warriors to thrivers to advocates. And I really appreciate you doing that. It's fantastic. It's really a very good service that you're doing. And what tools have you used now that you know better and you're self-aware, that help you through times of stress so you don't go to that anger point?
Um, well, the mitigating things for me is just to continue to talk about it, and to keep it in. The more that I'm talking about it, it keeps it in the forefront of what's happening to me, and keeps that awareness like right there underneath the surface. So as I, start to feel that that thing boil up inside of me when, let's say somebody raises their voice at me, um, a lot of the times I'll just remove myself from the situation for a minute, take a pause, think about it, get away from it, and see how I want to move forward from it. And you're right. Once you know better, you need to do better.
Yes, Maya Angelou. She's my favorite, and I
Mm-hmm.
I use that quote from her all the time. Yeah, it's so true, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, and just talking it out with everybody, and to be able to use social media the way we have, because with COVID and trying to really pinpoint how to give virtual hugs and to talk it through,
Mm-hmm.
especially without going through some sort of therapy. That's amazing that you're able to be that self-aware, and I'm very proud that you're able to do that, and to be able to have other people come in and talk to you about it too through your podcast. So I really appreciate you being on here. Sean, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, not really. Just, you know, we have to, in the times that we're in right now, we have to be the best advocates for ourselves, because nobody's going to save us. No one's going to save you from you. If you're out there and you're struggling with something like I am, or you're struggling with addiction or any of those things, you have to be the one who advocates for yourself. And, and that's pretty much it. We are all aware of when we're doing bad things to a certain extent. we just don't know how to get out of it. And if you are somebody out there, a male especially, maybe you're justice impacted, maybe you're struggling with addiction, any of those things, feel free to reach out to me. I do mentor males, so reach out to me and let's see what we can do to get you some help and get you back on the right track.
Thank you so much, Sean. You've been a pleasure to have on. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.